This is the Becky Bate podcast. After a long time, I'm here doing Becky Bate and had to do it because we have encountered such a huge fiasco around CrowdStrike where most screens, a lot of screens have had turned blue. And not just screens, but also a lot of people's faces had turned blue because they were stuck on the airport. Some were stuck at grocery stores, some were stuck at the fuel station, not able to pay. And in this cashless economy that we are living in, people suddenly realize the importance of the plastic currency, like the paper currency, if I could say paper, because over here we have plastic notes. But I've got my friend Shrey over here to have a chat about the CrowdStrike fiasco that we experienced last week. Hi Shrey, how's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me on your show. I've been good, but yeah, it was a pretty bad experience. Well, Friday onwards.
Friday onwards.
Luckily, we weren't affected. Well, at least my workplace wasn't affected, but we've had plenty of clients that were, and they're still trying to recover from it.
Still trying to recover, so it's
Yeah,
that bad.
yeah. Well, there were two ways to recover from it. Companies that, decided A, to do it themselves or wait for CrowdStrike to release an update. So the most of my clients fell into that first category where they tried to resolve it themselves, where you would have to go onto each of the devices and manually delete a file. But
Yeah, yeah.
we'll get to that later if you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah.
start off.
We get into it actually. So basically, before we start off, I want to touch on what do you do for a living? Like, what do you do as your job, full-time job?
I'm a senior software developer at Leviton. We specialize in automation for the hospitality industry, mainly for hotels, where we provide check-in, check-out kiosks that basically do what reception do, so that hotel staff can focus more towards guest services rather than standing behind a desk.
So
Uh,
you are the
uh,
one responsible for so many layoffs in the hotel industry, yeah?
Actually, from all our clients that we've had so far, we haven't heard a single layoff. Most of the staff are still there. Like I've been at Liverton for 8 years now, and all the staff that I started with at those hotels, they're still there, but just doing different roles.
Yeah, I think that's what usually happens when there is technology revolution. I call it revolution. Like for example, we had the Y2K in 2000. I think we were kids at that time when there was this buzz going around that if computers going to take over the world and now there's going to be job cuts, this that. In fact, jobs just increased. And
Yeah.
similarly, now with automation and with AI coming in, now I see this new trend coming up where AI is going to take over jobs. But I see that it's going to just repeat the Y2K phenomena where there's more jobs that will be created. Probably there would be some redundancies, but there'll be redundancies of um, certain roles or certain skill
Or
sets
like
might not be required.
additional like overstaffed roles,
Yeah.
those might get reduced. But like any new thing that comes along, at first there's resistance, but new jobs are always created beyond that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, 100%. So tell me this now. Let's dive into actually before we get into the CrowdStrike fiasco, I just want to understand because see, I should admit I have recently got into the IT space because I was told that that's the booming thing and everyone needs to be a coder. If you're not a coder, then you don't have a future. Like
Right.
I've always
Yeah.
heard of those terms, and it scares me because I am technologically challenged. I was scared to log into my laptop this evening because I had tried logging in on Friday and I had seen a blue screen come up and I'm like, oh God. And at that time I didn't realize what's happening. I'm like, oh God, फिर से खर्चा. Like, that came to my mind. Like, oh no, I have to again now get things updated or take it somewhere. And then this morning I realized that, oh God, I have scheduled a call, but I don't know if my laptop's going to be
Gonna work.
working. Yeah, so I was like, fingers crossed, it should work. But yeah, it did work. So we'll get into that. But tell me this, yeah, like, what is this? What is your role like? Like, for example, you explained your role, right? But
Yeah.
what does a developer actually do? क्योंकि हम लोगों ने बचपन में we have heard developer means के पापा का बहुत पैसा है और ये बिल्डिंग बना रहा है. That used to be
R-
our
Right.
concept, right?
Different developer. Yes.
Yeah,
So कुछ बना रहा हो, that's right.
yeah,
But mainly applications. So something that runs on your machine or runs in the cloud or runs on a remote machine. Um, there's different types of languages. I specialize in Java, JavaScript, and React. So React is web-based, or it's a spin-off from JavaScript itself.
right. Okay. So basically, just to understand as a 5-year-old, so there are different languages like we have Hindi, Marathi,
Different,
Punjabi.
yes.
That way, computers have different languages,
Yep.
and not everyone can be multilingual.
Right.
Um, like you can be duolingual, or you can have learned,
Trilingual, yeah.
yeah, trilingual, but you can't be like you'll not be able to know all the languages, right? Like, or is it possible to know all the languages as well?
There's quite a lot, to be honest. But
Yeah.
there might be someone out there for sure that, knows all of them.
Wow.
But it's very small
Hmm.
subsect. People will usually specialize in something.
Yeah.
Um, and
So
that's, yeah.
why do you, so who decide, so which language is the best language? Like what is, why
The,
do you select, why, how does a business or a company select that they want to use this particular language? I know I'm asking you very
it's
naive
quite
questions, but
like it depends on what the company's doing as well, right? So if your company is making mobile apps, then they will gravitate towards languages that can be like run by mobiles, right? Because they don't have a lot of, well, now they do have a lot of CPU capacity or RAM and everything, but um, they require something that's lightweight.
yeah.
Whereas when you do stuff for PCs, laptops, like proper applications, they are developed in a different language because laptops, PCs, Windows-based PCs, they understand a different language.
Right. Okay. So, and then I assume that Apple has its own language.
Yeah, it does. But there is an overarching language which, everyone can learn.
Right.
And then when create an app using that, the underlying code will translate it for you to that Apple language.
Okay. Yeah. And you're an Apple guy or a Android guy?
Look, I've used both.
Hmm.
I kind of prefer sticking to Android. It's just
Yeah.
because a lot of my development work is done on Android devices. We do
Yeah.
have in-house specialists that do work with Macs and iPhones, and they develop only that side of it.
Right. Yeah, because I'm very scared of people like, tech people who are very passionate about Apple. They can't stand anything against Apple, and I yeah, just like to take a dig on. But we are on
I,
the same
I
team
I
here.
I would have said I absolutely dislike Apple, but they do certain things really well, I guess, better than the fragmented market of Android and Windows.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So now, talking about Apple and talking about Windows, um, Windows got affected with the
Yeah.
CrowdStrike, but
Mhm.
Apple didn't, right?
That's right.
So what exactly? So what I have understood as a layman is that CrowdStrike is basically a service, or yeah, if I've got that right, is a
So,
service that different companies outsource, and Microsoft is one of them.
yep,
And there was some fault in CrowdStrike, which got Microsoft and different companies down.
right. You're
Mm.
right. So again, it comes down to what language or like, so an application like CrowdStrike, sorry,
Hmm.
was built. So they would build it for different machines or different device types as well, right? Windows has a
So,
different
sorry, before getting
architecture.
into that, just want to ask you, so what does CrowdStrike actually do?
They provide antivirus through the
Okay.
cloud, so you don't have to install anything on your machine itself. It's a very lightweight antivirus, but all the processing power is in the cloud. They also do, user authorization detection kind of thing, like work with AI. So, for example, this is my laptop. I log in, it like I've installed CrowdStrike here, and I log in every day. It knows that. But come tomorrow, if you were to get access to my laptop and you log in with your credentials, it would raise an alert saying, "Oh, this is something unusual. I've never seen Ruzbeh access this machine before." So it raises an alert at that point. So it may not give you access until I agree to it, or someone else higher up in the chain says, "Yep, this user is allowed to access this machine."
Wow. Okay. And so, sorry, just to understand, so does the device need to be connected to internet for that?
Um, yes, it does.
Right.
Um, but for certain features of CrowdStrike, you don't need internet. So like the user management or user authentication detection, you don't really need it because it knows, like it stores a lightweight copy, and it knows who accesses this machine regularly.
Right.
But
Okay.
it does have, like it does for antivirus and everything else, it does rely on internet connectivity.
Okay. So now, with this whole thing that happened, okay. So, so I understand now that I'm working in the IT space. I understand that there's a constant tiff between the developer and the tester, right? So develops things, and the tester will find faults in that and send it back to the developer. Is what my
Yep,
basic understanding is, right?
that's right.
So in this whole thing, who's to be blamed, the developer or the tester?
Ooh, I think there's a blame to be laid, like throughout the entire chain. So yes, the developer created something that should have failed on their machine as well. But then the tester, well, the QA team passed it as well. That means they did not find any fault in it.
Yeah.
And for something that has access, so I want to say something.
Hmm.
Um, CrowdStrike, when it installs something, it has root access, as in like, your CPU and your drivers that come installed with your machine, they have like very low level access. That means they can talk directly to your RAM, to your CPU, and all of that. CrowdStrike also has that same access, so that means it's installed at the very base layer,
Right.
right? So when your machine boots up, CrowdStrike is already there. It's already there. It's already activated at that point, the moment you hit your power button, right?
Mm.
So for stuff like this would have been tested internally first. And I was surprised it didn't raise any flags because they would have had a whole bunch of Windows machines, Linux machines, Mac machines, and none of that raised it. And then it spiraled from there to whoever, deployed it as well overnight on Thursday night in the US. And it was deployed as a global deployment rather than um, you know uh, targeted, where you only release it to a certain section of people first, and then if nothing happens there, then you roll it out. So
Yep.
that's what I've learned at my work as well. Never to just do a blanket release to everyone.
Right.
You just target a particular like group that that if something was to go wrong, you have direct access to it and you can resolve it quickly, or you can roll back, rather than supplying that same version to all my clients at the same time, and then everyone calling me or everyone having downtime.
And I believe that I remember Facebook used to do that. It used to, like for some of their upgrades, and this is a few years back, some of their upgrades used to only be available to New Zealand first. They used to test it in New Zealand because it's so far away, nobody cares if something breaks
Exactly.
or not. And then if it is a successful launch, like a successful upgrade over here, then it would be launched to the other parts of
That's
the world that way.
that's right. Most major app players will do that still. They'll release certain features or certain updates to a particular region,
A
and
smaller market.
then yeah, smaller market, and then move on from there. If if it's well received, if it's working as expected, etc.
Also, that's why a lot of apps where, this was when new apps get launched, like it's an invite only app. So only if you get an invitation for it, only then you can access
Yeah,
it. Um, I think Clubhouse was an app that was launched, which
yeah,
was a podcast app basically, but a random podcast app.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, okay, so that makes sense. So for some reason, this was just deployed um, on a
Globally,
Thursday evening globally right away. I saw this very funny meme. It's an old ad basically, which was then turned into a meme, where there's this artistic big some some structure made of those M&Ms gems where we
right?
used to get in India,
Yeah,
and then one person goes there and removes that thing, a different color one, and everything just
it
crashes down.
falls. Yeah.
And then I saw that, so that the intern went and removed it, and then so
Everything came down. Yeah.
yeah, so I think it's funny that they're cracking jokes on an intern. But do you think such companies also have interns working in there at such roles?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. They have interns. They would have intern QA testers. They would have intern developers. Um, but they for a company that big, I would have expected a lot more quality control in terms of what is pushed out, especially when they have direct access to everyone's machines.
yeah, and which is scary, right? Because I'm thinking that my personal laptop, I don't think I should be able to call it personal laptop because somewhere randomly does something and it crashes over here. That means if they want, they can probably go and access into my data as well. Like, is that also a thing?
Uh, yes and no. They do have access to it, but because if that was the case, it would have been found out by now that they are accessing your data.
Yeah. So then why does Mark Zuckerberg have a post-it like a sticker or a cover on his camera and mic?
Oh, because those are the easiest things to get into. Like if someone has access to your network, those would be the easiest things to activate on your device.
Right. So basically, if I have got like my phone on my camera, if someone gets onto my Wi-Fi, can they access my camera, like phone
Um,
camera?
yeah, but for most households, it doesn't happen because it's a very low level target. Like no one wants to just target
Yeah,
a household because there's not much information you'd get out of it unless someone's trying to get revenge on you.
right.
But it can happen to companies. But you know, phone providers, laptop providers, or like at least phone providers, I know they are pretty good at patching those things up so someone can't have external access directly without asking for your permission, unless
Mm.
you install like a random app, that
Third party app or something.
third-party app from somewhere else, or just download a random malware app that you just give permissions to.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's scary, yeah. Like that's why this IT world is quite a scary one, right? Because
Yeah.
um like I used to get very excited with when I was growing
New
up, we were
stuff
using
and
Nokia, right? And exchanging videos or photos via Bluetooth. Arey wow, oh,
yeah.
it's just going. And then at that time, I think Nokia phones used to have those we used to go to our mobile wala and he used to put in apps because at
Yeah.
that time we didn't have Play Store or App Store or anything of
Yeah.
that sort.
Yeah.
So he had to manually put in those apps from his
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah.
And there used to be weird as apps, crazy apps, like
Yep.
you can um, you can access someone else's phone through something, or I
Yes.
don't know, I don't like,
Yep.
it's a vague memory right now, but people have been thinking of such things from a long
For
time
a
back.
long
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
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 So with your job and developer, what is the most exciting piece of your job? Like someone who's watching us right now or listening to us, who aspires to be a developer. So tell us, what are the three most exciting things that you have to do and three most boring things that you have to do?
Huh. I'll start with the boring stuff
Yeah.
first.
Okay.
Like for me, the boring stuff is like reading someone else's code and trying to figure out if, just by looking at it rather than
Peer
testing it out.
review.
A peer review, exactly. Like for
Yeah.
me, that's the most boring part of it. Um, as much as I want to be part of new stuff, I find it very boring doing meetings for it
Yeah.
because, meetings can just spiral out of control, and from 15 minutes it can go to an hour or two easy.
Yeah.
Um, Apart from that, like I do really enjoy my job. Best part of it is seeing that product actually live in a market, being used and um, being used well. For example, like just so the automation part is only one part of the company. That's what I specialize in, like for the company. But we've like one of the clients that I recently did this year was Naomi Wellington, and they've got four kiosks in at reception, and their usage is about 80%. So 80% of guests coming to the hotel now use that kiosk.
Wow. Such a proud feeling, right?
It feels great, to be honest.
Yeah.
It feels very great. It makes me very happy because A, you're giving, a guest an opportunity to basically not have to interact with anyone. Because I
Yeah.
know a lot of people don't like doing that anymore. Like if they have to go talk to someone, it's very hard. Two, it reduce the queue times. You don't have to go and stand while someone's chatting to reception, telling their life story or whatever. You've got a machine right there that will check you in a minute and a half.
Yeah.
So that like I really enjoy that part. Second is learning new stuff of like, so I thought that I knew a lot about the language I develop in, right? But when you come up with like when you're faced with new challenges, you have to try find a new way. And even up, like I've been in this industry for 8 years now, and I still find it, I still am amazed sometimes with what that language can do as well. And I never thought I'd be like, oh, maybe this is impossible. And then you find a solution, or someone else has found a solution to it. And it just blows my mind that, oh, this is also possible with this.
That's very cool, yeah. Actually, talking about kiosk, when you're saying that, I was trying to think about how easy it's become for us to board a flight now. Like if you are at the airport in New Zealand, there's all kiosk over there. Yeah? Like you just go there,
Yeah,
scan your passport, it identifies you, you select a seat there, and it's so much quicker because instead of having because there's a limitation where you can have, right? Like how many people you can have there. But machines you can have like there are 8, 10 machines over there, so everyone can just go quickly and
exactly.
log in.
Yeah,
But yeah, thank you, Shrey. It was a pleasure to have a chat with you. I know it's short of time, but I think we covered what we wanted to hear, and thank you for sharing about
right.
your work as well. Just one thing, that I could resonate with. The thing that you hate the most is the thing that I love the most as part of my role because I'm a business analyst and I love meetings, yeah. Because I'm
Right.
like, meeting karo yaar. You do a meeting and I'll explain it to you what I want.
Right.
So yeah, but see, that's the two different sides of a coin, right?
Hey, I did have one more thing. I
Yeah,
wanted like end on a, I guess, funny note.
yeah, sure.
There was a article that came out earlier today, which reads, CrowdStrike offers $10 Uber Eats gift card to partners as an apology for global IT outage.
Oh my God, That's terrible, yeah. Being in US, you're offering a $10 Uber Eats. What do you get for $10 on Uber Eats anymore now, yeah?
Nothing, nothing. That only basically covers the delivery fee.
Delivery charge, exactly.
Yeah,
Come on, man. Be a little
yeah.
more generous. You have
But
shut down
yeah,
how many million computers were
um,
affected?
it was 8.5 million computers.
And
Um, and a lot of airlines were still recovering from
yeah,
it.
yeah.
My partner's parents are currently in Europe, and um, Lufthansa was still having IT issues with their machines. And they were stranded at the airport overnight. Like the
Gosh,
airport was locked from the outside, so they couldn't leave. So they
exactly.
spent 12, 13 hours at the airport itself.
And you really can't compensate that, right? Because what are
Yeah,
you going to pay? Are you going to replace the flights? But what about the holidays that I've taken? What about the other bookings that I have? What about the
exactly.
time? How are you going to replace? How are you going to pay back me my time? So yeah, it's
Yeah. So
$10
there'll be
was
more.
they
Yeah.
should have not done $10, bro. That was the wrong.
Well, I wanted to read further down as well
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what happened. So they say, and like for that, we're sorry for that, and for that we send our heartfelt thanks and apologies for the inconvenience. To express our gratitude, our next cup of coffee or late night snack is on us. And TechCrunch, who got their hands on this email, they said when they tried to use the code from Uber Eats, it just said this has been canceled by the issuing party and is no longer valid. So they issued it, and then it
God,
was either already used by someone else, or they already canceled it.
so, the share prices that were dropped are further going to drop after this because that
Yeah.
also had a CrowdStrike malware.
Yeah. So there were two ways of fixing the issue. One was manually, booting up your Windows machine into safe mode. So for people that don't know what safe mode is, it's you can start up your machine without any of the application drivers running. So
Right.
drivers that so it will basically just run Windows but not load anything else on side. So you could log in like that and delete one file that was causing the issue.
Hmm.
So a lot of companies that wanted immediate you know, fix for this issue, they chose to do that.
Yeah, they did tell us that you go into advanced and then you go to customize setup or something of that sort, and then you type C drive,
So,
the
yeah,
whatever that was. It was
yeah,
all foreign language for me. But yeah, we did do that. So my workplace, they asked us to go in and manually delete the file,
yeah.
and then they gave us a code, um, Windows code or something like
A script, yeah,
no,
to
no,
run.
like the validation code number, the 18 digit or six, whatever, how many were digits?
The Windows key,
Windows key, yeah, Windows key, sorry.
right?
To then put it again, I don't know.
Okay,
Hmm,
interesting. I didn't know that was required, but hmm.
not sure.
So
Yeah.
the other way to do it, which, after CrowdStrike found the issue, um, the other way to do it was you email them, they add you to their list, and within the next hour, your machine is now part of that automatic upgrade, where they would uh, all they would ask you is to connect your machine to a Ethernet cable and power on. And by the time your machine boots up, CrowdStrike would have already connected to your machine and pushed that update to delete that one file.
Wow.
Um, so that's why I was saying, like, they have very low level access. So that means before your machine can even start up, they've already updated, or they've already
Yeah.
detected who's trying to gain access to it, kind of thing.
Wow. So what did how did my computer get fixed? Was it like just automatically like the
Um,
CrowdStrike update?
if yeah, if you didn't do the manual way, your company probably reached out to CrowdStrike and asked them to do it
No, so
automatically.
it's this is my personal computer, like my personal laptop. I had
But
a problem, a blue screen issue on Friday
but do
night.
you do you use CrowdStrike on your personal machine?
I don't know. Is it there or no? Or was it
Yeah,
was Gmail also affected due to CrowdStrike? Because I was trying to log in and it was not letting me log in. Maybe it was some other issue. Yeah, maybe my laptop's old now.
possibly,
Yeah.
possibly, because like I CrowdStrike, like for personal computing or personal use, is quite expensive and
Right.
kind of pointless because your laptop's at home most of the time. Who has access to it, kind of
Right.
thing. Um, it's corporations from medium to large size corporations that usually engage with stuff like this because it's a easier solution or like a better solution to manage all the devices.
Yep. And there's also there's a what bulk solution basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, kind of a thing.
They are, although like up until this point, they were the leading choice in like virus protection, antivirus programs. They call it the next generation antivirus.
Okay.
They are still pretty good, minus this
Yeah. A
mishap.
glitch.
Mishap, yeah.
Yeah.
They've been pretty good like for years, right?
Yeah.
But this is gonna definitely cost them a lot.
Yeah. 100%. More than the $10 Uber for sure.
Yeah, yeah. There'll
Uh,
be lawsuits following. There'll be insurance claims, but their reputation will also take a hit.
yeah, 100%. And I think this is when it's going to be quite interesting because I am not sure if anyone's resigned as yet. Um, I
Mm.
don't know. Maybe the CEO or maybe someone um, who had run the project. I don't know. But
So nothing's come out yet, at least. Like they're
which is
still
good, which is
on.
good to see, right? Like the company standing by everyone
Yeah, it's
and not
good to see,
sacking
but
anyone.
also you want to see some, I guess, some statement out there, at least, like except for the generic sorry, like
Yeah,
how would you remedy it? Like basically, how do you make sure that this doesn't happen again?
yeah. I
So
think because the process is a problem.
yeah, exactly.
Mm,
So either redo your process, hire more testers, or increase your test lab, basically. So something or the other needs to come out from it rather than people losing their jobs. Everyone makes a
right.
mistake. I understand that. Um, but somewhere the process needs to be fixed rather than people being blamed solely for it.
The great story, Shrey. I think definitely need to catch up again and have a part two of this session.
Definitely.
But yeah, thanks for your time, and
Sure.
we hope to be connected with you soon. So I'll share your details with our listeners, and they can hopefully get in touch with you.
Great. It's a pleasure
Thanks.
being here.